All right, and hello, everybody. The first thing that we're going to be talking about today is the first four forms that I create in Google Forms in order to create the behavior tracker. And when I first started creating this tracker, I thought that it was going to be a pretty straightforward process, but because of the number of sections that have to go into it, I was not prepared for that. I completely saw it working in a different way, but in order to get all the data that I needed and in order for it to work the way that it was intended to work and to do the job that the administrators asked me to do, the actual working document ended up being 87 sections. So the very first one just explains this is the behavior tracker, and I put 6B. You would put whatever class it is. So say you have eighth period, first period, which is what I have currently. I would put, I'm sorry, eighth grade, not eighth period, eighth grade. So I would put behavior tracker eighth grade. And each class of students has a different tracker. Now, at my specific school, there are only 20 students per grade. It is a magnet school, but I did put more than 20 students or spaces for more than 20 students in the document in case somebody wanted to use it. And they, most schools you have more than 20 students in a class, so I wanted to make sure that it was usable. But the very first thing you do is you're going to label your tracker. Who is it going for? The first section is going to be the teacher name. So when we're gathering data, I need to know the name of the teacher who is putting the infraction in. And the reason for this is students may behave better for some teachers, and they might have, strategies or tools that work for, especially, difficult students. They may have strategies or tools that they use that another teacher doesn't use, but gathering, the very first bit of information is what's letting us know who is initiating the response here. So if it was me, my last name is Armfield. I would click on Armfield and I'll show you more about how that works. But that immediately says this is who is doing this. And then I would make that a required response because I need to know who's doing it. The second section is just going to be positive or negative. Is this a good behavior or a bad behavior? And one of my favorite failures for this course started because I was only focusing on negative behavior, and this tracker had absolutely nothing to do with are these kids doing anything good, which completely, I can't believe that that was like a huge piece that I had missed. But I had to go back and recreate this document and add positive behaviors as well. So you're going to tell me, did this student do something good or bad here? There's only two sections. You have to make a choice here. There is no option. Otherwise, you can't move on to the next sections of the form. So most of these responses are going to be required responses. In section 3, bad behavior. So if you were to choose negative here, it would take you to section 3. If you were to choose positive, it would take you to section 4. And I'll show you how that works in just a second. But first, I'm going to make this required. And then here, positive, you're going to go to section 4. It will automatically take you there. If it's a negative behavior, you're going to continue to section 3, which is the bad behavior. I need to know which student did this. So if they did something good or bad, whichever section you picked, we're going to move on and we're going to say, okay, I've got all the students that are in this 8th grade class, and I put 25 in here, and say the first student's name is Bob. If you're editing this to work in your classroom, you would put Bob, or you would just go down your roll and it would all be in here by the time you pull the tracker up. You want your student names in this document before you ever start working with it. Don't stop your day and add students' names, because once your students' names are in here, it's customized automatically, and then you would make a copy of this each week before you put any infractions in. And at that point, you would have a saved copy that you could work with every week with a fresh copy if you wanted to start behavior over every week, which in the type of environment that I work in, it's not really fair to keep up with every bad thing that somebody does. They need a restart. So we restart our infractions every week. So you're keeping up with the behavior, you're getting your data, and kids aren't constantly being kicked out of school or sent home because they have plenty of chances to redeem themselves. So originally, like I said, this document started out as something a lot more simple than what it ended up as. And again, I had to go back and add the positive behaviors back up here. But also, we had to have a way to track what we were doing as teachers to intervene whenever behavior became a problem. And so it took a little research on my part, actually, a lot of research on my part, to figure out what interventions worked best for older students, because this form is designed for 6th through 12th graders. I mean, you could use it in 4th grade, 5th grade, all the way up, but you could actually use it in kindergarten. But behavior works better on a visual for students that are, of those ages. And I'm working with 6th through 12th graders, so I chose something that would be, just very straightforward to get the job done, because teachers are bogged down in so much paperwork whenever it comes to discipline. So this is where we're going to stop for this section, and then we'll move on.